Shout out to everybody out there. Happy Friday. I just wanted to come to y'all today just to speak to y'all about something that was happening in Washington, D.C. and about the mayoral race, the upcoming mayoral race. Just something that I ran across that I felt like should be discussed. And so the first thing is, I know I'm going to be personally attacked for what I'm about to say. I get it, you know. I don't care because I know a lot of the people who are going to be attacking me are going to be people who are engaging in some of the stuff that's going on or benefited from it. So, oh well, you just have to be mad on this one. It doesn't bother me at all. Basically, for those who don't know, Washington, D.C. will be electing a new mayor this year. And in that, there are several candidates who have put their names in the hat as as nominees. And so there are a few DC council members who have done so. And so, given that fact, the DC council member who seems to be getting a little bit of buzz throughout all the names is Kenyan Mcduffie. And so I wanted to point something out because I had a discussion with a couple of people about him. And so they kind of felt like I might have been being biased, whether for or against. They just felt like my position may be biased, but in regards to politics, I don't really have a biased position. So what I want to do is just go over, something of him, in which may give understanding to why my thoughts and position is the way they are, is the way it is in regards to Mr. McDuffie. So just without further ado, let me get into it. And so, right here, you have a tweet by Mr. McDuffie, and I'll read it out loud so that you guys can see it. It says, on the DC Council, I passed the Near Act to stop violence before it starts and make DC safer through prevention, not reaction. That's leadership that delivers, right? That's leadership that delivers. That's what he said, the Near Act. So, exactly what is the Near Act? And exactly how has it impacted the community? So, let's go through several things about this act in which Mr. McDuffie created and what it's done in regards to the community. Okay, so this is him. This is on his website about the Near Act and him creating it. So this is not nothing that he hasn't done. This is something he's actually done. Okay. So it says right here, Near Act identifies, engages violent offenders, violent engages at-risk violent offenders through the Office of Neighborhood Safety Engagement, ONSE, right? That's right here. Okay. And so what I did was we'll go through an AI overview of it as well and get some just general information about this act. Okay. So, Near Act. Let's go up here. Near Act DC refers to Washington, D.C. neighborhood engagement achieves results of achieves results act of 2026, right? Neighborhood engagement achieves results act of 2016, sorry. So that's what it says it is. A comprehensive law, right, using a public health approach to reduce violent crime by addressing its root causes through community-led programs, mental health support, and improved police data collection, right? Establishing offices like the Office of Violent Prevention and Health Equity and the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. Right. That's what it says. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so you know you got to forgive me a little bit. I'm squinting and doing the most. Anyway, so the Office of Neighborhood Engagement. So that's ON. So that's the second ONSC. So we know that this act established the ONSC, right? And I want to concentrate on that one specifically. And so the people in DC, they know that we've had a situation where we've had a council member who, and I'm not going to name any names, is irrelevant to the totality of the point. Who it is irrelevant, right? So we've had a council member who was named and engaged in some sort of stuff he ain't have no business engaging in. And just to give you a little oversight on what happened, because that is the relevant part, is he was the head of a certain department. And I'm gonna let you see for yourself, so that way it doesn't look like I'm doing anything to be biased. But he was the head of a certain department within the District of Columbia. As a council member, sometimes you get named to different as the heads of different things. So he was the head of this certain department, which um basically he was influencing contracts to be given to certain parties who would then give him a kickback. Okay. And then they paid him pre-hand for some of the stuff, for some of these kickbacks. And so I'm gonna move along to that situation because that's very relevant to what's going on here, right? Um, okay, so right here, I'll try to give it a name. Okay, so a former DC council member, at the time it was formal, but it says it's scheduled to stand trial for federal bribery charges involving the ONSE right here. He's accused of accepting approximately $35,000 in cash bribes. Okay. I didn't mean to mention them. I tried to avoid it, but I guess you can't, and whatever. So the NEAR Act established the ONSC. And so the ONSC is for neighborhood safety as well. So we know that corruption has come out of the establishment of the ONSC. We know this, we see it, right? And so the more alarming thing is that Trayon White isn't the only one involved with the ONSC who has been accused of corruption. So the previous head of the ONSC also, and as you can see right here, she also took money she wasn't supposed to, $10,000. And so you have two heads of this company established by Kenyan Mcduffie who have engaged in corruption. And so this NEAR Act, in which he is taking so much credit for right now, when you look at it, because it was supposed to deal with specifically violence in DC. Since this act has been passed, there have been 1,796 murders in Washington, D.C., right? And this is year for year murders in Washington, D.C. since this act was passed in 2016. When you go just yesterday, 5 people shot on Missouri Avenue, 16th Street Northwest, 2 juveniles. That's something else that we have to discuss. What this act did in regards to juvenile crime. Because when you look over here, 45 kids. This is as of August 12th, August 13th, 2025. So that's not even up to date. It says 45 kids and young adults 19 and under have been shot and killed in the last 18 months, all pictured. And here's the picture of them right here. Right. Here's the other picture. It's the bottom of it. Right. And it's 3 years old. Look at this. And so, So just to go back to the statement by Mr. McDuffie, that's leadership that delivers. That's what he said. I am mortified by this statement for several reasons. But more than anything, it shows for him to even mention this act at all, knowing the controversy that has been surrounded um, around this act and around the things that this act created, knowing that the murders continued after all this money was granted from the DC public to fund your act, knowing all of this, you go off and still mention this as an accomplishment. On your page, just this was January 17th, 2026. It shows very little understanding of what's happening in the streets of DC. Because I could tell you one thing for sure and two things for certain. These people pictured, they don't think that was a good act. These people pictured, those families of those people pictured, don't think that that was a good act or good. And they definitely don't think you should be taking credit as if it was good either. That's the last thing you should be doing, in my opinion. It's mortifying. So if you're talking about being mayor and you don't even understand your own accomplishments and your own failures up until this point, to the point to where you're shedding light on, I mean, it just shows you're not even in tune with your own self, your own campaign, your own do's and don'ts. Because you're putting yourself in a real weird position, dude, with this one. Out of everything you could have mentioned, this is what you mentioned. And I know, and again, I know I'm going to be attacked by the people who have benefited in the monies that have been given to a lot of these programs who produced, of course, they can't be producing gun violence prevention. Look at all the murders. But they're going to tell you that they've done this and it's going to be a whole bunch of what we've done. Just no results. And so the DC public really need to pay attention about what's going on in your city and what they're telling you and what these candidates are telling you. They lying to y'all. To be frank, it's just no, I have to say it like it is. They are lying to you guys. They are lying to you guys. And I just wanted to prove it. So when people say that I'm being biased, I'm being extra, please look at the information before you judge someone who may be trying to tell you what's going on around you. Do not blindly follow anybody. It will result in deaths. Vet your politicians. Vote. The voter turnout amongst at least my community in DC, I'm going to tell it like it is ridiculous. I get it. Politics hasn't worked for us, over the years. I get it, right? But it can work. And a lot of the reason it don't work is because you guys aren't participating. You got to vote. You got to put your money behind whomever you're voting for too. Donors matter. Volunteers matter. You got to put the work in if you want the results. I'll help you, as you see. I'm going to give it to you like it's supposed to be given to you, because that man is dead wrong for what he said in that post, and the media should have been all over it. I don't even know what they doing. No offense. I just got to call that one like I see it too. Somebody should have called him out for that tweet. That tweet was mortifying because of so many people have been killed. And that act was supposed to prevent that. And it didn't. It didn't do anything. The act wasn't a good act. You got bodies everywhere. What are we talking about? You got shootings everywhere. What are we talking about? And you got the nerve to take credit and speak of this as this was a good thing? That's is somebody I don't know. I'm not going. Y'all could say what, take it however you want to take it. But I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna not do too much. I'm not gonna, dive into it. But if that is who y'all telling me that I'm supposed to be getting behind, um, not to mention some of the other mechanisms that have caused this that I'm aware of too, which I will be bringing to y'all as time go on. So other mechanisms that play with this too. A lot of other ones that nobody is mentioning. You see, a lot of economic things around that this is the result of that nobody is mentioning. Like these municipal bonds. You see, y'all stripped a lot of jobs out of the Black community. To be honest, the poor Black community, Ward 8. Ward 8. You stripped a lot of jobs out of there, labor jobs out of there, so that you can cover municipal bonds, in my opinion. And when I followed the money, that's what it looked like to me. With your AAA rating, AAA, AA rating, bond rating. Right. Because when you look on the construction sites, you're not paying the minimum wage that you're probably supposed to be paying. So we're going to dive into all of this. All of these people who have already been in place in the District of Columbia and haven't produced, you need some competition. You need some competition. Y'all have been running amok. And anybody who live in DC who really are who's really aware and vetted on the politics of this city, know I'm not lying. Y'all have run amok without crime. Y'all have run amok without housing. You have run amok without schools. You have run amok with the city projects. You have run amok with the hiring process. You run amok with UDC. They don't even have online classes. It's ridiculous. What year are we in? UDC still don't have online classes. Like some of this stuff is just, what are we doing? And so for you guys in the DC Council to come and ask for a promotion, Mr. Mcduffie, with the horrible work you've done, to be honest, unbiased, that near act has been a disaster, bruh. And you're just mentioning it like we don't know. So that's what makes it so disrespectful. Like, we don't know this thing has been pretty bad. That's the big thing about it. That's what Lynn me. You just play with our intelligence, play in our face, like they say, huh? That's what you're doing with that tweet. So I wanted to challenge you. Yeah. We're not going like that no more. We're not just going to sit back and watch you guys destroy our city and say nothing and do nothing. No. Y'all going to have some competition this time. All of you who've already been in place. I don't think any of you deserve a promotion. I don't even think a lot of you guys deserve your jobs because of the little kids who have been murdered on your watch. And if you say that's not fair, then something is wrong with you. That is a fair assessment. Way too many bodies for me. You guys can't seem to fix that. Please explain to me why I would want you as a mayor and you have no answer to any of the violence. And in fact, your answer was to help people steal from the public. Who's about to vote for that? And again, the people who've benefited off of the things that you've done, the money that never got to where they should have gotten, which is, to me, has induced massive violence, along with some other things that we're going to mention later on. I mean, this is just, it's y'all playing with people's lives. I would have raised hell after the first child was murdered. It would have never got to 20 or whatever it is now. After the first one was murdered, I would have raised hell. Somebody would have got fired or somebody would have been in court. You got to have a no tolerance for stuff like that. There's no tolerance for child murders. It's no excuse, no tolerance. It's to the point where the federal government had to step in or felt the need to had to step in. Like, oh, whoa, what am I seeing on the news every day? The place that I work, the place that I live. So that relationship there to me, I mean, for them to say it's semi-fair. Now, whether the crime is dropped or whatever you want to say, I watch the news every day. Y'all watch the news every day. Again, if you want to, let me show you here. Just yesterday, five people shot on Missouri Avenue just yesterday. 16th and Missouri. That's Embassy Row. So you got all types of dignitaries and different people who frequent that area. Like if you know DC, y'all know I'm not lying. So that was a very big insult. That was a very that's a very big one for me. That just shows you don't care what you say, and it shows a lack of accomplishments. If you have to mention your something that's resulted in murders as you an accomplishment, then you don't really have many accomplishments, bro. And that might be the reality of it too. Nonetheless, I don't want to do too much. I'm not going to dive too far into it. I know how I feel about it. I just wanted to give you guys the insight that I have because it is what it is with him. It is what it is with him. And so for the people who kind of linked on me for saying whatever I had to say in regards to him, this is some of the stuff I'm talking about. And this is the results of his policies have not been good. It has led to a lot of corruption and a lot of murders. That's just a fact. So you can't expect me to not speak out against that. When you talk about kids being murdered, right? And money being taken away from kids to fight those murders. Let's be real. What are we talking about? Like, let's not waste our time on nonsense. But I'm gonna let y'all go. Enjoy your Friday. Drive safely. Get to where you're going.